Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for our live webinar, The Fast Lane to AI. It really is a privilege to have invenioLSI and MuleSoft collaborate to showcase our partnership and speak all about our MuleSoft offerings, about MuleSoft AI Chain, its core features, capabilities, and all of that. We have got a very insightful session ahead, and we're super excited to bring this discussion to you all. So my name is Manal Jilani, and I am the marketing manager for the Middle East for invenioLSI, and I'll be your host for this webinar today. We've also got two incredible MuleSoft speakers here with us today, Andreas Postel from Salesforce and our very own Ram Chand from invenioLSI. So without further ado, I will hand it over to our speakers to introduce themselves. So Andreas, let's begin with you.
Welcome. Hello, everyone. Andreas Postel, MuleSoft architect, now 6 years with MuleSoft, based in Switzerland, covering Middle East, and around 20 years in API management, integration, and software development. And happy to host this session.
Awesome. Thanks, Andreas. Our next speaker, Ram Chand. So Ram, feel free to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Manal. Thanks, everyone, for joining this session. So myself, Ram, been working on MuleSoft for over 7 years now, primarily working in the Middle East for multiple customers, implementing solutions with MuleSoft across the domains. Thank you.
All right, thank you both. So excited to have you on this webinar. So before we begin, I just want to touch on a couple of points. First off, today's session will be recorded, so don't worry if you miss anything, or if you want to share it with a colleague or refer back to it at a later date. You will be receiving the recording in our follow-up email right after the webinar by the end of this week, so do keep an eye out for that. Besides that, we want to hear from you, so we invite you to ask questions. On the right-hand side of your screen, you will see a chat box where you can drop in all your questions. So feel free to ask at any point during the webinar, but do know that we will only be answering all those questions at the end. And if we don't get to them during the Q&A session, our experts will definitely answer them in the follow-up email. And lastly, don't forget to stick around for a quick survey at the very end, as it's important to us and we're always looking for ways to improve. And you guys can also ask questions if you'd like there. So moving on to what to expect from this today's session, we will start off with an overview of invenioLSI for those who might not be familiar. We'll also be talking about our delivery framework and MuleSoft offerings. Then we will dive into an overview of MuleSoft, their capabilities, approaches, and what to expect from your integrations. We'll also be discussing a success story of our work with MuleSoft for a renowned bank in this region. And then we'll explore the importance of AI in the world of APIs. We'll be introducing you all to the MuleSoft AI Chain. Why is it a game changer? Perhaps take a closer look into its core features and capabilities as well. We'll then jump into a short MuleSoft AI Chain demo and wrap it all up with a Q&A session with our experts here. So it looks like we've got plenty to cover. So I would say let's dive right into it. So for those of you that don't know us, this is invenioLSI at a glance. With over 38 years of experience in the technology solution industry, we are very proud to be premier MuleSoft partners for over a decade now, and an award-winning global SAP Gold partner. We have partnered with MuleSoft in several regions globally and are continuing to serve multiple long-term clients successfully. Although we started off in the US, we now have a truly international presence with around 16 offices in 11 countries. And with our headquarters in the UK, we also have regional headquarters across US, Middle East, and the APAC region. Besides that, we're also very proud to have a diverse team of over 800 experts working together across the globe, including a strong hands-on technical team of over 100 who have lots of knowledge and expertise in our technologies, implementing some of the most complex enterprise solutions. So on top of that, our expertise in technology consultancy really goes beyond the norm. We recruit and develop talent specifically tailored to meet the unique needs of our clients across all industries. And this really ensures that our solutions deliver real measurable impact. So this right here is invenioLSI in a nutshell. Now I'll hand it over to Ram to walk us through the delivery framework.
Sure. Thanks, Manal. Yeah, it's not just about the one-time implementations. We have been working with customers on a variety of services, which are broadly classified into 4 sections. So the business value services, architecture consulting, implementation services, and the DevOps. So we've been successful in working with organizations in understanding their requirements, opportunities for business growth, challenges, building the POVs, POCs, and showcase the true value of the platform. Are basically our architecture consulting services. It's not just about MuleSoft. We look at the entire enterprise architecture, understand your network, security requirements, and then implementing the solutions that just don't fit the requirements of today, but we also look at how we can meet the demands of tomorrow. And we also understand enabling the team, and is not just about providing the standard trainings, but provide the team with the coaching that is needed to provide the support or get the best out of the platform. Because you understand MuleSoft is a vast platform, and it's up to us to evolve and bring out the potential from the platform. This has actually proved to be a very flexible approach in delivering transformative projects and also minimizing the overall risk of the programs. While you have seen invenioLSI service offerings on this slide and how we have addressed majority of the customer needs with our service offerings, let's look at how MuleSoft has undergone the evolution, and I'll hand it over to Andreas to help us explain what was evolution of MuleSoft has been.
So why MuleSoft is a game changer in terms of API management and integration, how it all started 2006. Next slide. So MuleSoft, founded by Ross Mason as an open source initiative, and the core runtime is still open source on GitHub. And then we were part of the SOA ESB hype, and around 2012, we moved to the cloud, but also incorporated API management. And we were the first platform that combines API management, API gateway capabilities, and integration capabilities into one single offering, into one single product. Then we got acquired by 2018 by Salesforce, and we fully owned by Salesforce, and broadened our spectrum with universal API management and RPA. Got deeper integrated in Salesforce, but we still the #1 integration platform, very agnostic. We can connect any system to any system. And today we are talking about AI Chain. This is the Mule offering to connect to all the LLM models, vector databases, and get your integration enterprise system ready to integrate with the new AI world. Next slide. So our platform contains 4 pillars. One is integration. It's not the classic old ESP anymore. So we integration microservice platform. We will talk in a minute about this, but this is our core integration capabilities, connecting to enterprise applications, connecting to any technical system, supporting a broad range of 300+ connectors, plus a lot of templates for standard integrations like S/4HANA, Workday, Salesforce, and so on. The second piece is workflow and automation, which is RPA automation to integrate with legacy systems to automate screen workflows, but also have a native integration with Salesforce Flow to automate tasks and integrate APIs in your Salesforce ecosystem. Number 3 is govern and scale API. So we truly believe in one single API catalog for all of your APIs. Is it self-developed APIs? Is it some SaaS solution? Is it some third-party data provider? Whatever APIs you're using in your organization, you put everything into one catalog and cover them. And the 4th pillar is now integrating with the generative AI capabilities in an architecture well-designed way. Next slide. We are leader in many Gartner categories. The most important thing is we do this over multiple years now, and it's one single platform, one single product. Many other vendors are also part of many quadrants, but they have different product offerings. So with MuleSoft, you get one single piece of software, one platform that has capabilities that are leaders across many categories. And this gives you also easier onboarding, easier learning experience. So there's one management and control plane. There's one onboarding learning experience to use all of these capabilities. Next slide. And yeah, we are around the globe. We have now over 5,000 customers in every vertical, every industry, from financial service over manufacturing, healthcare, public sector. We just Salesforce opened last year the Dubai office covering the Middle East region, and we, from the MuleSoft perspective, have now over 80 customers in Middle East and growing fast, and also working together with Invenio, very strong to deliver projects. Next slide. If we look at the components from MuleSoft, so as said before, we have the API management component, which core pillar is a central API catalog where you can store all of your APIs. Can be old SOAP APIs, can be REST APIs, can be GraphQL APIs, can be async APIs. So we're agnostic about the protocol and the implementation standard. We give you one central catalog. We give you governance around all of these APIs, like OSAP top 10 security vulnerabilities, design best practices, how well is the documentation. But you can also extend this with your own rule sets and your own policies. We provide gateways and also a very nice experience developer portal, which goes beyond the normal developer portal experience. You have a content, so it's based on Salesforce Experience Cloud. You have a content management system, you have workflow, you have analytic tools, so you have full power of Salesforce and can design your public API portal that you share with your partners, your third parties, your open banking initiatives, and you can have an internal experience hub that is for all your internal developers, for all your internal API consumers to go there and consume the APIs that are available in your organization. On the integration side, we have the components of how to design MuleSoft applications, microservices in a low-code way. So the Studio and Code Builder. There is the RPA tool to screen record. Then we have intelligent document processing, Flow Builder, which is a built-in tool into Salesforce and Composer to integrate and enable Salesforce with an external data sources very easily. And on top of that, we have created industry solutions like accelerators and MuleSoft Direct for very common use cases, like in the financial service industry, connecting to core banking systems, payment systems, or in the telco world, supporting TM Forum APIs and connecting to Netcracker and MDocs and so on. Also, very common use cases, like everyone is migrating from SAP ECC to S/4HANA. We have accelerators for that. We have templates to speed up this integration. And the last piece is then we have Partner Manager to connect old style P2P EDI integrations like Edifact and X12, also over the MuleSoft network in a no-code fashion way. Around all of the platform capabilities is security is built in the core components. Security is paramount for us, and also give you insights, traceability, observability, and monitoring across all the components of the platform. Exchange is the marketplace where you can store all your internal APIs and assets, but also all the MuleSoft connectors in this marketplace, and also third parties in the MuleSoft community can share their connectors, assets, templates, policies, and so on. And the deployment infrastructure is very up to your choice. So you can deploy it on the MuleSoft cloud, or you can run it on premise. You can run it on any of the hyperscalers, and you can run it in a very distributed way. You can run one piece here, one piece there, and you can change your mind tomorrow and redeploy it to another deployment bucket. Next slide.
Thanks, Andrea. So yeah, it's truly fascinating to see how one platform can handle multiple, or can provide multiple capabilities to the customers. And many of you would have already used Anypoint platform and seen how it's not just conceptual and it works in action. It at the same time is one single platform to handle multiple features and providing multiple features, handling multiple challenges. Let's see now how we have addressed the challenges that the customer has faced with MuleSoft. So this is for a retail bank, or it's a prominent bank in the Middle East. And next slide, please. Yeah, so what are the challenges they have faced? So we have worked with this prominent bank, and the challenges the bank was facing was primarily around venturing into retail banking and sunsetting old applications. And end of the day, they don't want to impact the end customers that are interacting with the bank. The bank also wanted to implement digital channels and expand their presence in the digital world by adding more mobile applications and web channels, while improving the overall operational efficiency and maximizing the services that are provided. Other challenges also included, increasing the reusability of the assets across the organization and improving the maintainability. Now, how did we address these? So to kick things off, invenioLSI has actually worked together with the customer in understanding the issues in detail and provided the solution, which follows the best practices of MuleSoft. In the overall solution, Anypoint platform acted as the backbone and has provided the unified integration layer of experience and bridged the bank's existing corporate systems with emerging digital apps that I've mentioned. So this has actually unlocked significant value by enhancing the bank's ability to deliver modern and connected services and look beyond that and look into the open banking and the new financial regulations that are coming in the region as well. So a cornerstone for all this transformation was MuleSoft's API-led approach, and this method not only promoted agility but also drastically reduce the development timelines by enabling the creation of reusable APIs, which was one of the challenges that I've discussed mentioned in the previous slide. In summary, MuleSoft's Anypoint platform actually refined how the bank can connect and scale their operations. And with a unified integration strategy and API-led connectivity, the real-time data and the solution has delivered today exceptional agility, scalability, and it is a truly a customer-centric innovation that we could achieve. Right. Before we get into the details of Mac, because understanding how the three-layer architecture works for MuleSoft is very important, because the concepts of Mac and everything is built again on top of the three-layer architecture. Now, in order to provide seamless user experience, right? So multiple backend systems need to work together, as you understand. So because of this, we need to understand how to effectively do this, and you can understand this is not an easy task. We see that many organizations find themselves in what we call as the integration mess or a spaghetti architecture. This is due to the key challenges that come with the traditional approaches to integration, like point-to-point connectivity and custom code that is written, unstructured data, which all brings down to the compatibility with external partners and stuff. And the stats say that actually 8 out of 10 IT leaders say that integration challenges are actually impacting their overall digital transformation. Now let's see how MuleSoft has been addressing these challenges. We will dive into something called, like I said, the three-layer architecture, which is very important. Now the three layers that you see here are the system layer, process layer, and the experience layer. Now system layer is basically used to expose the system APIs. They provide direct connectivity back onto your databases, or say for example ERP systems such as SAP, connect them into a standardized way. Now process APIs is where all the magic happens. These are the intermediaries where basically they all aggregate, orchestrate, and everything for your data. A mashup needs to be done. It is done at the process layer. Experience APIs is where this whole experience of tailoring it to a particular requirement. For example, if you're browsing through a mobile, you don't like the response time to be much higher because you need an experience API that gives you the output that you exactly need. So which is filtered and provided at the experience layer. This combines the traditional technologies and standards At the same time, tomorrow, if you have EDI transactions, you don't need to start building from the scratch. You can you utilize the existing process APIs and system APIs and expose them with a different, on the different experience layer. Now, let's look at how this basically translates into the modern composability, or how it brings out the reusability. For example, like I said, Andreas has mentioned about Exchange, where you have the multiple connectors, right? So if you start by using MuleSoft's pre-built connectors and unlock data from your systems of record or the ERPs. So as you see in this example, once you build the operations API, which what you see as part of project 1, this can be reused for other projects. For example, if tomorrow you're implementing OMS, you can reuse that particular API, and this ensures that you are not duplicating the effort, and this approach ensures consistency across systems and accelerates your time to market. When you go to the project 3, if you are building EDI transactions on top of it, you can utilize the same existing APIs, and with the new technologies or the new features that are coming in, what you can do is, for example, if you are using RPA bots, or you're using process flows, so you can reuse the same APIs but need not start from the scratch. So why with Mac, the 3-layer architecture actually takes the center stage and plays a key role. Now let's look at how Mac MuleSoft AI Chain basically takes it to the next level. Andreas, over to you.
Thank you very much. So the world is talking about AI, AI, AI. Every company is talking, every software vendor is talking about AI, but what it really means. So it's more than just using ChatGPT and copy pasting data over to it and the response back. In an enterprise world, you want the AI, that the AI can use all of your data that's stored in a CRM system, in an ERP system, in your document management system, that all of this data can be fed into the models, and the model can take wisdom out of this data, like answering questions around a policy that you have stored on a SharePoint, or answering questions around your customers that are stored in the ERP and the CRM system. And we'll very quickly realize, if you want to go to this nice shiny future, this is an API integration challenge, because all of these systems need to be integrated with your LLM model. So the world of AI is a world also of APIs. Next slide. So how we came to this revolution and where we stand today. So around 10 years ago, we have predictive AI with the machine learning models, with predictive maintenance, with calculation models to forecast things. And then with generative AI and ChatGPT 2022, the second wave brought on, and there was a big hype that copilots came on, and this will be the future. But it quickly turned out that it will be more a purpose-built agent-driven way. In this wave we are now, and there will be multiple agents that support different business functions like sales, support, marketing, and that supports the employees, but also improve customer service from repetitive tasks, but also from analyzing complex data sets to provide actions and answers. And the fourth wave is still a couple of years out to generate or have artificial general intelligence. Next slide. So how you get your enterprise architecture ready for AI? A siloed point-to-point integration approach, like on the bottom, doesn't really work. So as Ram said before, we believe that the API-led driven system process and experience layer, which is composable and around a domain-driven design, will really simplify and help you in any type of integrations, and also in this AI case. So a composable building block architecture where you have a customer API, where you have a product API, an order API, a payment API, APIs that abstract the backend systems from data types that you want to leverage would simplify all of these integrations. In the agent-centric architecture, there are many or tons of vector DBs and LLM models. And the big question is, should you bet on just only one or two, or should you keep it abstracted and agnostic and see what the future will bring, but don't rewire all of these architectures? So this is where MuleSoft AI Chain comes in, and also Salesforce has a product called Agentforce, which deliver a full agent-centric approach. And then there are the human interaction layer, the interface. It can be a chatbot, it can be a voice interface, it can be integrated with telephone system, it can be integrated with WhatsApp, it can be there. So this is a multi-channel delivery mechanisms for employees, for partners, for customers, whoever you want to support with this model. Next slide. And what's the role of API management in the AI world? So you hear maybe the term AI gateway or LLM gateway, which when I heard it the first time, I was like, is there something new out? No, it's not. It's basically an API gateway with additional policies. Also, MuleSoft has these AI policies that support the integration with AI models. And the idea behind it is that whoever creates a Python script, a Java application, a quick Node.js to connect to one of these models, don't go directly to these models. They go over a outbound gateway, outbound API gateway, to first of all keep the keys to the model in this central API gateway securely, but also provide a couple of policies that count the tokens, count the usage, provide some rate limiting, provide some reporting to cross-charging and see how many tokens has the sales, marketing department, support department used, who are the frequently users, how I can distribute the cost. Because now everything is in experiment mode, but if you're spending 2-3 million for a model and paying this to OpenAI or Azure, you very quickly someone want to know who is using it and are we spending too much. So API gateway, AI gateway with these policies can provide reports, insights of who is using what and manage this cost control efficiently. Next slide. So the Mac project started as a bottom-up open source initiative, basically to simplify all of this integration with the models and delivering agents faster. Next slide. So as I said, what we observed in many organizations is that someone say, okay, why we cannot bring these cool capabilities that we see out there with all the models in our organization. And someone said, well, let's register to one of these providers. Is it OpenAI? Is it Mistral? Write a simple Python script. There are a lot of examples also in the how to get started tutorials. And then they quite quickly realize we need to bring in enterprise data. So they add to their Python script how to connect to my ERP system, how to connect to some of the document stores, get something up and running, show it to their managers. They all are impressed, and they bring this what is more a POC to production and run it. This is maybe good for experimenting, but we believe this is not the sustainable way if 20 departments are doing this in your large organization, because then you get very quickly a big mess. Next slide. So what we have with MuleSoft, we have on the left side all of our 300 plus connectors, and this is nothing new. We do this since 15 years. We have all the enterprise business application software connectors to the CRMs, to the ERPs, to Workday, to SharePoint, to all of the technical systems like a Kafka connector, like a GMS connector, a database connector, and so on. And what was missing, and I think we're quite unique in the market in terms of integration capabilities, to also provide connectors to Mistral, OpenAI, Anthropica, Llama models. So nearly all the models that are out there, and we try to keep all the main popular models as a connector. And also the vector DBs to store all of the content, like a Chroma, pgvector, Elasticsearch, Python, and so on. And addition to that, we provide templates to create various patterns very quickly, to connect to the knowledge store, to provide a rack mechanism. And also we have this end-to-end lifecycle. Because what you're building here is a microservice based on Java, compiled down to a Docker container, which you can deploy on any Kubernetes cluster. And this is standard MuleSoft capabilities. So we have the capabilities integrating with the CI/CD pipeline to have all the security and management capabilities, have this decentralized deployment mechanism to deploy on your OpenShift on-premise, to deploy on your AWS EKS or Azure AKS. So all of these are already built in the platform. So we added these two capabilities and said, well, we have now a better way, as what I showed before, writing these Python scripts to show something. And all of this is, again, in a low-code fashion way. Next slide. So looking at the Mac components, we have the Mac Whisperer. This is a nice demo interface. So we have speech to text and text to speech as a channel to enable voice conversations. Then we have the broad set of LLM connectors to connect to the different models, Mistral, OpenAI, Llama, and so on. Then we have a dedicated connector for the Salesforce offering, Einstein AI, so to provide additional features that goes beyond just the LLM model. The same also is for Bedrock. This also is a broader set of capabilities than just the LLM model, so we decided to provide a dedicated connector. Then a connector to all of the vector databases. Then additionally, a web crawler to crawl content from your internet that would be normally not available. So to just feed Confluence pages and other stuff that you're running on some internal web pages that you want to feed into the models, and some interference to optimize the models. Next. So this is just a different view of that previous slide. So you can use the web crawler to get some internet pages into some of the vector DBs, whatever you use, very agnostic. And then whatever model you're using or operation model to deliver it to the different channels. Is it a voice text-to-speech model, or is it a standard chatbot that goes on your web page or goes through a messenger channel like WhatsApp? Next slide. And this is just a general overview of all the capabilities. So talked about the LLM models, about the vector DBs, but there are also a lot of document loaders that you can upload your PDFs, your Excel sheets, your Word documents, your PowerPoints, providing templates for RAG, deploying some tools around tokenization and prompt engineering. So broad set that helps you to connect to this. And why all of this is important? So there's a saying, when you go for lunch and come back, there's a new model. And it's very dynamic at the moment. We don't think the market is very mature. So it might be in 1, 2, 3 years. So the big question is on what model provider, what LLM you are betting at the moment. Is it 1 or is it 2? Or you want to be very agnostic and say, because all of the integration to the backend system stays the same, all the delivery channels will stay the same. So we want to have the flexibility to just dynamically replace the LLM model, or maybe run 2 in parallel without re-engineering everything yourself. So we believe we can provide a value in this and say, we connect to your systems like here, be a CRM and so on. We provide the vector DB storing interface. We provide the connectivity to the delivery channel, and you can run model 1 and 2 today and switch to model 3 to next tomorrow. And this in a very easy way without rebuilding everything yourself. Imagine if you have to do this in your Python script or JavaScript. So if you haven't well factored it, you maybe end up to rewriting everything. Next slide. So in a nutshell, what Mac will provide you: a no-code development environment, templates to develop your agent very fast. And we're talking here about, for some easy stuff, a day, for some idea that you have in mind, maybe a week. So these are not 6 months projects with massive funding. It's very flexible. You can change the LLMs and vector DBs as you want. You can run them in parallel to find out which model is answering the questions better. And there are a couple of benchmarks where you can see how they are doing. And also the integration to deliver this to an operational model, to have monitoring, security, the delivery all built in, and also have some cost management and transparency around. Next slide. And yeah, here a couple of links, we will share them. So there's the Mac AI project landing page where you get the introduction, the tutorials, the get started content. Then there are a ton of YouTube videos. So we have our own YouTube channel, which also show you demos and also how to get started. And there is a LinkedIn group where you can ask questions and share ideas. And of course, you can also reach out to us if you have further questions, interest. Next slide. So, as I said before, this is the Mac AI project landing page, which gives an introduction, which gives you the get started guys, how to get started with videos of all the different connectors that I mentioned before, from Einstein, Bedrock, the web crawler, and the different connectors for the models. There's also this YouTube channel with all of the different videos. And just as one example, what I want to show you today in the demo is, we as solution architects, engineers in MuleSoft, we're very often confronted with answering questions around MuleSoft, like which databases are you supported? Can you deploy it on this or that Kubernetes cluster? Are you supporting which version of OpenShift and Ranger? What Java versions you're supporting, and so on. So this is part of our daily business. And we are also very often do RFPs. So customers love to ask us 100 questions in their RFPs, and we are busy with answering that one. And we thought, why not also leveraging AI and write an agent for that? And the problem is, first, we thought, can we use for this OpenAI? Actually, we tried it, not because it's too open in terms of the source of truth and the question that where they looking for answers. So we didn't want that it goes to any forum or Stack Overflow and pick any answer they find and using it as authorized truth answer. So what we build is that we want to use the capabilities of OpenAI, but we want to restrict it to the source of truth. So the source of truth for us is the MuleSoft documentation and the MuleSoft blocks, and that's basically it, where we think these are authorized answers and they should be used. So we wrote a small microservice that is exposing with an API and also a plugin, which just we are using Google Spreadsheet, but you can do the same with Excel as well. So just a small plugin that calls an API and sends all the answers that we have here received from the customer and send this to the agent. The agent sent it to the LLM model. The LLM models use the official MuleSoft documentation and the blocks for answering it, and we get the answers back in column B. And this is working very well. We use it across the globe for all the 400 plus MuleSoft solution engineers. It saves a lot of work. It works not 100% perfect, of course, so we still need to review the answers, but I would say 80-90% of our workload in answering RFP questions are now helped by an agent. And this is really a great improvement that was just a quick side project we started, and we see really value that saves hundreds of hours around the globe in our daily work. And this should give you just a bit of inspiration. Maybe you're thinking now, well, in our organization, we have also something where a small agent, a small plugin would help. And this should not take a couple of months of development. This should be a very quick way to go, build something, use it. So we want to tell you the barrier of entering and using AI in an organization isn't that high as you believe. You can build really something a couple of days or weeks and really get value out of it. So this is Studio. So this is the development environment where you develop Mule flows, and I just very briefly show you these two. So I have here an HTTP listener who just listens on a board. Then I have here my Mule AI Chain connector and operations, like I can read an image, generate an image. I just use here to answer a prompt question. So, and then I get the response back and send it back to my HTTP client. So I have my embedded runtime. So I run this here locally on my laptop. And I have here my Postman, so I call localhost chat, which runs on my laptop, this the Mule runtime. And then in the prompt, to say, can I ask any questions? So this goes to ChatGPT, so what do you know about MuleSoft? I send this to my agent on my laptop, who forwards this to the LLM model, in that case, OpenAI. I get here my response. MuleSoft is an integration API management platform, but I also get here additional attributes like token usage. So what is been used on the outbound side, output side, what has been used on the inbound side, what has been used in total. And if I go back here to the model, you also see here what I said before. You can switch here between all the different models. So if I want to switch to another model, it's just a click without changing anything. And you can, so the provider and also the model types, I can click here and see all the different models. So for example, I can also have here the same model that goes in parallel to Mistral and OpenAI and combines the answers in one single output. So in a couple of drag and drop clicks, you can build together your models. You can also add the vector GPs, the doing RAG, and connect to all of your surrounding systems. So this was a very brief overview of Mac. In addition, quickly want to show you Exchange. So Exchange is this marketplace where all the assets are stored. This is also publicly accessible. We share the link. And you see all the connectors like the S4HANA, Salesforce connector, S3 connector, but also accelerators, which are ready to use templates like for the SAP migration or for healthcare or for retail. So if we look into, for example, SAP one, so there are system API-led diagrams, well architectured, which are production ready. A lot of customers around the world are using this already today in production, which is well architectured and ready to go. It's also driven around business processes like procure to pay, quote to cash, with all of the components. And good thing is here, you can use this pick and choose. So you can say, okay, I don't have a BIM system or I don't use a master data management system. I only want slices out of this architecture diagram. You're happy to do this. There are a lot of API specifications and implementation templates that you can open in Studio and just point to your sandbox or development environment and run it. They are production quality. You can leverage them. So it saves you a lot of time in terms of design, architecture, but also development. You don't start with a blank sheet. You have already something that you can run, and maybe in your organization it does not 100% work as MuleSoft think it should work. So it's a template, you can modify it, but maybe 90%, 95% of the work is already good as we have done it. And the small tweaks that are different in your organization, you can just change the template, and this speeds really up the process of delivering something to production. And the last piece is monitoring visualizer. So this is the endpoint management control plane with all the components, experience hub, exchange, intelligent document processing. And I quickly just want to show you the visualizer. So this is how everything looks looks during runtime. So you can select, is it the sandbox development environment, UET production? You can create different views if you have to manage hundreds of microservices and APIs. And it shows the interconnectivity between experience, process, and system layer and the backend systems, how they are connected on one side. And it gives you like here real-time information about what is the average response time of these systems. It color codes it, and you see, okay, where you have a low, where everything is fine, and where you have a higher response rate. You also can switch between the metrics, like where's the throughput going, which component you have what throughput, about failure rate, and you see immediately like, okay, all of these are gray, but the customer API has 10% failure rate. So something might going on here, and I need to have a closer look. And you can then directly jump from here to the log files dashboard and drill deeper to analyze it. So that was it for me. Thank you very much. I hand back to you.
All right, thank you for that, Andreas. That demo was very insightful. Now we've got some time left for audience questions, so let's move on to that. Okay, so please start dropping your questions in the chat on the right-hand side of your screens, and we're going to keep answering them as they come in. So let's start with the first question here. Andreas, this one's for you. What is MuleSoft's approach to event-driven architecture, and how can it be used in real-time integrations?
Thanks very much. So MuleSoft is very open to protocols and standards. Of course, we support event-driven architecture. We don't want to be very descriptive and say everything should be event-driven. We say our approach is to use what fits the best. We have a lot of use cases where we say event-driven is best, but there are also a lot of use cases where you do synchron and REST APIs. For event-driven, we support async API specification in the design phase, in exchange also to document all your topics and queues and data structures, but also support PubSub message pattern, connectivity to various message brokers, like we have a connector to Kafka, to Solid, to JMS, to AMQP, and provide all of this. But we have also our own offering, like Anypoint MQ. So whatever message broker you would like to use, we have connectors to it, but we provide you also patterns for the integration and also the governance and design component.
All right, thank you for that, Andreas. Ram, the next one is for you. Does invenioLSI also provide support to migration?
Yes, thank you. Yes, in invenioLSI, we actually provide support to upgrades, migrations, etc., and along with the new implementations, of course. So as showcased in the service offering slide, we can work on providing the POCs and POVs before you actually start the migration too. In fact, for the same customer that we have discussed during the success story, we have performed an RTF migration as well, which is successful.
All right, thank you for that, Ram. Another question for you, Andreas. How does MuleSoft support microservices architecture, and what are the best practices for implementing microservices with MuleSoft?
So the MuleSoft API-led architecture is based on a microservice architecture. So every every system API, every process API is basically a microservice based on Java Spring Boot, compiled down to a self-contained Docker container that can be deployed wherever Docker runs. So you can run this on any Kubernetes environment, and we provide also the management and monitoring tooling to manage all of this distributed microservice architecture.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for that. Ram, another question for you. Do you have any experience working with Cloud Hub 2.0?
Yeah, thanks again for the question. So yes, we have experience working with Cloud Hub 2.0. In fact, we have implemented it for a customer and connected it to backend systems such as SAP and multiple other in-house built systems as well. We have enabled the private spaces, transit gateways, etc. And right now it is actually running successfully at the customer location for more than a year.
All right, thank you for that. Another question just came in. I think, Andreas, this one is for you. Why is an API AI gateway important in an enterprise architecture to connect to LLM providers?
Yes, so the important piece here is to really have not the API keys for all LLM providers spread it across the organization, to have one central place where you store all these keys and provide an internal security mechanism. Is it your internal JWT token OAuth to the agents that are calling this model, but over an outbound gateway, and also provide reports and statistics around like rate limiting, who is using what, and also way easier for troubleshooting. You have one single outbound gateway. So highly recommended.
All right, thank you for that, Andreas. So I think that's all the time that we have to answer questions from the audience. We encourage you all tuned in to connect directly with our speakers at the email addresses shown here on the screen, and we will make sure to send out direct links to their profiles in the follow-up email so you guys can connect there as well. So that wraps up our webinar. A huge thank you to Andreas and Ram for sharing your expertise, and everyone on call today for attending and asking such great questions. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Manal.